when you are looking at real estate from an investment standpoint, you have to leverage. Without leverage, if you're investing in real estate, it's better you put the money in FDs.
Let's pause your... Sorry.
Okay, no problem.
I need to pause you. This last sentence you used, explain that more. What do you mean by leverage within real estate?
Okay. So essentially, let's say I'm buying a real estate product, a house worth 100 rupees, right? I should not be putting the entire 100 rupees from my pocket. By leverage, what I mean is, okay, like out of the 100 rupees, 10 rupees or 20 rupees I should put out of my pocket, and the rest 80 rupees I should take loan from the bank. So leverage is the amount, the amount of money you take from the bank, right? So essentially, I only have 10 rupees or 20 rupees, but using the bank's 80 rupees, I'm able to buy something worth 100 rupees. In the first case, if I don't take the leverage, matlab loan from the bank, I can only buy something worth 20 rupees because that's all I have. So leverage in real estate means taking the loan from the bank. That's all it is. Right.
There is a game where you fraction out a portion of your expenditure,
correct,
take it as a loan,
correct,
buy that massive piece of land or that house, property or whatever. Then you'll be able to get a better rental yield.
This
is what you're saying?
Not rental yield, a return. Right now, let me explain a little more. Let me take numbers in this, right? You bought something which is worth 100 rupees, in which, let's say, approximately 15 rupees, I put mera equity, khud ka equity. And 85 rupees I have loaned from the bank. And let's assume the markets are probably not doing so good. Even in those cases, real estate will grow as much as adjusting to inflation. Currently, inflation in the country is around 6.5%. Let's assume you're growing at the same 6.5%. Matlab in real terms, the growth is 0, but in monetary terms, you're growing at 6.5%, right? Mehngai, essentially, that's mehngai. So 6.5%, let's say any decent developer delivers a project in 4 years. So 4 years, 6.5% compounded, 100 rupees becomes 130 rupees by the time in those 4 years. Now let's assume you're exiting that day. You want to sell out that house, right? Now let's debit the expenditures. So when I'm selling that house for 130 rupees that day, I've taken 85 rupees loan from the bank. I need to pay back that 85 rupees loan. So 130 se 85 aap nikal dijiye. Then you're left with 45 rupees. Let's say in this duration, right, I have to pay the interest component, right, which will also progressively increase over the 3 years. Not that in the first year I end up paying a lot. It's not like that, depending on the construction. So let's assume another 10 rupees you paid towards your interest. So from 130, you subtract the 85, you're left with 45. Usme se you remove that 10 to 15 rupees. Let's chalo 15 rupees aap nikal diye. You're left with 30 rupees, right? How much did you invest? 15 rupees. So 15 became 30 in 4 years span. That is 18% IRR. So when investment in real estate needs to be done, it needs to be done in this format. Matlab, invest in a project right when the developer starts pouring concrete. Because that means you would have had almost all your approvals and your product is set. Matlab, you know what size apartment are there, what size of commercial space is coming. You have details about the product. So hence you invest then, and the minute the particular project gets an occupancy certificate, you exit that time. So by doing this, safely matlab just doing your research well, it's easy to make 18% IRR, 18% return rate. Now, in this logic, 8 out of 10 times this holds true. In this, if you see, I've not taken any crazy returns like 10 or 15%, 20% year on year. I'm just placing it on mehngai. Just because of inflation, this happens. In a good market like what's been happening over the last 2 years, that return is more like 15% year on year. So your returns shoot a lot more. But let's not base it on that, because there's no point in basing something on a one of a kind thing. So whatever formula, it should make you win 8 out of 10 times. That I think is a decent formula. Right?
Few things to be mentioned here. Firstly, I think when people traditionally look at real estate investments, at least on the Indian internet, people only keep this rental yield factor in mind. They never talk about actually selling off the real estate.
Yes, asset growth.
Asset growth. Real estate as an asset that you can buy and sell.
Correct.
Because again, the entry barrier is
high.
That's one key point of this whole podcast. We're going to talk about it from an investment perspective. So it's not just about rental yield. Secondly, in this whole example that you explained, I want to know about everything that can go wrong, because you used a sentence. You said that if you've done your research well.
Correct.
Let's go deeper into that, because people fear, honestly, that builders will steal the money and go away. At least that's a very Bombay thing.
To be fair, reasonable number of builders have done that also.
Yeah.
So I don't blame them.
So there are some things that can go wrong in your real estate investment game.
Correct.
Talk about it from a very real Indian perspective.
So the research in this, Ranveer, includes that, one, when you're doing this, let's again just look at it from a mathematical standpoint. The more the math and logic, the better it is, right? It's scalable. So when will you lose your return in this? When the 4 years is becoming something like 6 years or 7 years? So when will the time slippage happen? When will a project which was supposed to be delivered in 4 years go to 6 years or 7 years? It happens on few of the conditions where it happens is if the developer is more sort of a new developer, he necessarily might not understand the real estate life cycle, product life cycle, right? Or second thing could have been the developer because he's new, he would have got a wrong product market fit. मतलब ये location में 3 bedroom बिकता है, लेकिन मैंने 5 bedroom I did it. Right, then that won't get sold. If that doesn't get sold, then I will have less cash flow to build out the building. So I will take longer time to build it out. And another thing could have been I did not get all the approvals from the government, because anything we do in real estate, we have to take approval from the government, right? Municipality, local municipality essentially. And I have not taken the approvals and I've started selling. So that too is a problem. So these are the main things which one has to watch out for. A more traditional developer who has probably handed over, maybe 5, 10 or whatever number of projects knows these things well, right? He or she knows the product market fit because they have done quite a few projects. They know is micro market mein kya bikega, right? Then they will know, because they will be privy to all the approvals, they would have taken the approvals already, right? And because they have delivered quite a few projects, they will understand the cash flow cycle. How does money behave in this particular sector during the life cycle? Like first year में कितना surplus आएगा, second year में कितना surplus, third year में deficit कितना है, ये पूरा उनको मालूम होगा, right? So that's how it happens. So this is where the research aspect comes in, right? And this 80% of the data is available online, so one need not hire probably an agency to do this. The 10, 15 or 20% which can be outside our control, right? Just like anything, like you invest in equities also, there are certain things outside our control. Such things in real estate is the political environment. Let's say government changed, then they came up with a new policy. Let's say instead of, they thought of building a flyovers or roads in a particular, let's say instead of the east, the west direction. Then east ka real estate will slow down a little bit and the west will pick up faster, because real estate ka prices revolve a lot around transportation, the ease of going from point A to point B, and the social aspect, the neighborhood ka livability aspect. Matlab kitna utility related infrastructure hai, matlab how many barber shops are there, how many, it can be schools are there, how many playgrounds are there, these sort of things. How many, recreation ke liye entertainment spaces, clubs, movie theaters, this really add value. So government policy has impact on both the social infrastructure and the physical infrastructure. Physical infrastructure though is purely created by the government. Social infrastructure is created by the private sector, but the policies are framed by the government. Let's say, imagine government comes with a policy that, okay, boss, after 10, all bars are closed. Naturally, those people who put bars in that area, their business goes down. So what happens? They'll go and shut shop and go to some other location. That particular bar or that particular, it can be a karaoke club or something which closed, then people will have less, spaces where they can unwind. So the livability of that space goes down. The neighborhood goes down.
Hey, if you enjoyed today's clip, make sure you check out all the other clips we've uploaded on this channel. You'll find a clip related to almost every single topic as long as you're willing to search for it.